Hello to all you poker players out there, and welcome back here to my YouTube channel where I sit and do some nerdy and nitty-gritty work on breaking down some stats from the first 100,000 hands I played before I started the YouTube channel and the first 25,000 hands I'm playing in this YouTube channel. As always, I use this spreadsheet I have got from the Mastermind, which is a coaching site for Limit Omaha strictly, and it's provided by Jane Anders and his team, and I shall leave a link for it in the description below. Today I am working on cold calling. So if we see here the first 100,000 hands I played before I started the YouTube channel here, in middle position versus early, I cold call way too much. On the button, I am actually quite spot on. On the button versus the cutoff, it's a little, I could call a little bit more. But here, big blind versus small blind, I'm calling way too little. I should be calling 60%. I was actually surprised that I should defend this much versus the small blind. The small blind is supposed to have a range that's somewhere along the line of 35%. So when you have to defend 60% of your hands, it must be a ton of junk you have to defend with. But you have position, and it's definitely something I have to look into and work on. So I took the bucket tool, which is something we have access to at the moment. It is a solver Jane Anders and his team is developing. It is under development, so that's why we have access to it at the moment. And I just set up the game tree for the situation when it's folded to the small blind and the small blind opens. And what we're supposed to do now, I set the game tree up for the straight rake structure of PLO 50, and we see here we shall actually call 57.7% of the time, so it is close to correctly with the 60%. So there's only one thing for me, it is to go into the bucket tool and start some training and maybe set up some post-flop simulations to figure, because I think I'm just not comfortable enough to play post-flop yet. That must be, and yeah, I just don't understand the dynamic there well enough. Nevertheless, if we go down to the next 25,000 hands, then I am actually starting to defend a little bit more, so that's a good thing. But my cold call on the button versus the cutoff has gone down. Now it can be a little bit of a sample size here because it's a shorter sample, but could be problematic. Cold call on the button versus early position is not so far away, and I'm still cold calling in middle position versus early position a little bit too much, and that could definitely, if after the next, now we see I have got it down 3 points, 3 percentage points, but it is important to be aware that you have like 4 players behind you to act, and you need a range that can either get very nutty or hit some boards very smooth. But nevertheless, I have also made this little spreadsheet, and this is probably the way it's going with these spreadsheets where I'm making these filters. So today I only had to make 3 filters, but kind of see where do we make money and where do we lose money. So if we see here when I actually call versus the big blind, if we take a look at my average all in adjusted, then I lose 6 big blinds per 100. But remember, if I fold every time, I lose 100 big blinds per 100. So there's plenty of room to call way much more. And if we look at the last 25,000 hands, I have been winning 215 big blinds per 100, so I'm printing money there. So yeah, that's interesting. Otherwise, all my cold calls is basically in the plus column, very, very high in the plus column here. After the first 100,000 hands, and I have some red numbers here in middle position versus early position. There is this cutoff versus early position where I've lost $40, but I should have been winning 26, so must be running bad in some couple of spots. I just put up some reports here to get these numbers into this file here, and then I just run the filters here with, like, this one here is the filter for when I call on the button versus the cutoff, and we see here that I make quite good money there. Okay, and if we take this other filter, then we'll see these three positions. This is for the last 25,000 hands, by the way. All those numbers I wrote down there. And if we take the last filter here, when I'm in the big blind versus the small blind, where we see I just make way too much money. So you can't say I make too much money, but I really should defend way wider when. Because, like I said, I win here 215 big blinds per 100, and if I fold every time, I lose 100 big blinds per 100. So there's plenty of room to improve there. So it's basically only one thing to do for me: go into the bucket tool and start trading. But there was a breakdown for cold calling, and that was it for today. I hope to see you around another time, and I wish you all the best of luck in life.